Market update here on the 7th. So I think that after today, we got a pretty big sell-off, 1.7% finally. I think we're either looking at a fourth wave of a third wave. So we have overall 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, and then within that 1, 2, 3. So on this second wave, if this is the second wave right here, it was pretty shallow on the retrace. It only retraced less than the 0.38 fib. So if it is a second wave and this is the end of the third wave, I would expect a pretty deep correction for this fourth wave, because normally the second and the fourth are opposite of each other. So I would imagine that we should come all the way down here to at least the 0.38 fib, which is sitting here at 338.60. But we might even come all the way down here to 332 and do the gap fill. So we'll see which one happens. Again, it could still be WXY, and we could come down here even farther. We could go all the way down to 315, 330. Remains to be seen. But one thing that I did notice today on smaller time frames is that this is an impulsive move right here. We got 5 waves. So we have 1, 2. We broke across the parallel line. This looked like the beginning of the fourth wave, and it kept on going lower. So it might have been a very shallow and quick fourth wave. I think that's probably the most likely scenario, considering we hit the 1.61 fib right here, and then we come back up here. So I think that we are already in the fifth wave of this move. And if I'm wrong, we'll know pretty quickly, because we're probably going to get a lot of chop. But if we're in the fifth wave, I'm looking for something down here around 346, 347 in this area right here. There's probably even some demand zones down in that area. So we did hit right in this area. Not best demand zone. This is the better one right here. We hit right into this demand zone on the hourly. So we might actually be finished with the fifth wave, or it's going to go a little bit farther tomorrow. But if it's finished, then I would look for a bounce up here to at least the 0.38 fib here at 351.68, but probably 352 to 354. And so really, honestly, this could actually be the overall top for this part of the bear market as well. We don't know. This could be WXY and the B wave is finished, and this is the beginning of the move that takes it down all the way to 200. It seems unlikely, and it probably is pretty unlikely looking at the other charts, but it is possible since we're getting a 5-wave move off the top. So we'll have to see where this ends up tomorrow, but I would expect it either bounces right here tomorrow, and that's the end of the fifth wave. If it trickles past here, then I would expect it to get held up before 346.59 and then bounce for a second wave or a B wave. So again, it's either going to be a fourth wave of the third wave. So 1, 2, third wave overall. This will be the fourth wave of that. Or it's going to be an X wave pullback, or we topped out. So 3 different options. We don't know which one yet. SPY did a little bit more charting on this. I think it's likely just a double 3. So I just don't like, people are trying to turn this into a 5-wave move. I don't see it. So ABC. And I just hate all the diagonals. So this is clearly an ABC move. Doesn't even get to the 1.61 fib. We pull back here. This is a corrective move. So it could be the X wave. But then this is highly corrective as well. So that's probably AB. And then we get a decent Looks like kind of an impulse move, but probably corrective as well. So ABC for the X wave. And then this move right here, I don't think this is a 5-wave move either. We get more chop right here. So I think this is actually A, B, C right here. And you can see also the 1.61 fib is right around there. And then we pull back here. And then this could be a 5-wave move, but it's probably going to end up being, again, another ABC move because they've all been ABC moves. So I have it labeled 1, 2, but this looks, again, like ABC. So I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see what the 1.61 fib of this is. So the 1.61 fib is only at 430, so maybe it is a 5-wave move. My target is somewhere around 440 to 443. So SPY probably has a little bit more upside, and I noticed today, because I hold this in my portfolio, SCHD. SCHD was up, and that's a lot of value stocks. And so they're definitely rotating into value. They're rotating maybe into growth, but definitely into value stocks, oil, industrials, that kind of stuff. Because this was up, QQQ was down pretty big, and SPY was barely down too. So SPY is being held up by everything non-tech basically. And so I kind of suspect that maybe on the bounce, whenever tech bounces, that will be enough to propel SPY up to 440, considering SPY was barely down today and QQQ was down a bunch. So I'm looking for 440 to 443, and that could be it. Or we could get, again, an ABC move lower and then keep on going higher. So it kind of remains to be seen, but I don't think this is a 5-wave move. I've seen like many people say it is a 5-wave move, and I mean it could be a diagonal, but I just don't see it. QQQ looks like it could turn into a 5-wave move more than SPY, obviously, because it's more vertical. So that's SPY and QQQ. Looking for probably minimum 338 on QQQ, or maybe the gap fill at 332. But we should see at least an ABC move on QQQ. SPY is probably turning into, if this is a 5-wave move, I would look for another move higher, and then another pullback, and another move higher to 440. Tesla originally went higher, and I thought it was done yesterday. But I would suspect that it's done now. Keeps on extending. And my original target was 185. If we look at the 0.5 fib now, it's at 191, and the 0.61 is at 182. For as far as this went now, it could turn into an ABC move. So it could end up being something like this. So maybe it pulls back only to 213 to 200 and then goes higher. The overall target, let's see. I know the overall target's like 317. I don't know if it'll make it on this move. Let's just see what the 1.61 fib is. No, the 1.61 fib is around 300. So I really suspect that the gap fill will definitely get filled at some point. And this kind of confirms more of QQQ being in a 4th wave, to be honest. So I wouldn't like count on your puts making a ton of money over the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it will end up being a 1st wave, and it will come all the way back down here to 190. That's the only way it's probably going to get up to, let's see. Yeah, 327 is only going to hit if this is a 5-wave move. So that kind of hints at a bigger correction, because that would be a 10 to 15% correction on Tesla. So look for that to correct to at least about 200, 205. Microsoft, if this is similar to QQQ, we might just get a pullback to another shallow second wave here. We might just get a pullback to like the low 300s, maybe even like 315, and then it continues higher. It went a little bit farther compared to QQQ. So QQQ stopped at the 1.61 fib. This went past it. So it's actually more likely that this is a 5-wave move, where we're looking at it like something like that. And then this within it would be something like this. So I don't think Microsoft will correct all the way down here to the gap fill, but maybe I will be wrong. Apple, the gap fills I'm looking for on this, I would look for this to potentially come down here and gap fill at 167. I would be surprised if it gave back much more than that. Even though I don't see this as a 5-wave move, maybe it is. It just doesn't really, I've shown this before, it doesn't stay outside the parallel lines on this move. But it could be, I guess, a 5-wave move, because this did extend past the 1.61 fib. If that's the case, for how shallow this second wave was, similar to Spot or QQQ, I would look for a deeper correction though. Probably down here to the gap fill, around like 167. So that would be an opportunity to accumulate that, and then we'd be looking for somewhere around probably 200, 205 to top out at. So there's Apple. IWM looks pretty strong here. It's hard to tell if it is actually strong, but I still have a suspicion that it's going to come down here to what my target was of 160, because all of these moves right here are ABC. So ABC, ABC, and then this would end up being ABC. So it makes sense, plus this structure right here is not very impulsive, and we basically hit the 1.61 fib today. So if it keeps on going higher from here, then I would probably say that this is wrong. But if we start selling off from here, and then I'd be looking for 160 probably sometime in July. So that would be a pretty significant sell-off. That would be about 10 to 12%. So we will see. Maybe they're rotating into growth as well. Meta came down here and did a gap fill today, and I didn't even check it lately. That came down a lot farther than I thought originally. There was a gap fill down here at 265. I'm really glad I dumped this yesterday. Zoom in here and just look and see what's going on here. So this is a demand area though. So I would expect this to get a bounce from here. We can just look and just see. So gap fill there. I think there's another gap fill way down here. From 270. I wouldn't expect it to come all the way down here. I guess you never know, but it's probably going to do something. Maybe come down here to like 245 and then go higher. The target is 375. So let's just do the 1.61 fib of the top. It's pretty close. 344. So again, this could be another 5-wave move. This could be, honestly, wave 1. That would suggest a bigger correction though, down here all the way to 214. So similar to Tesla. And I know that seems really high, but when you look in the log scale, it gives you completely different targets. So 372 right there. So it would have to be a first wave. Actually, let me use the log scale one more time and just see. Maybe it's different. No, I'm sorry. It would not be a 5-wave move. On arithmetic, it would be. But on log scale, we're looking at ABC. If we went from 168 to 275 to 107, we're looking for 375. I would expect this to be a pretty shallow dip as well. So maybe 247. Potentially, it's probably going to be something like I just pointed out, ABC right here. Because if it's going to 375, then that means QQQ is probably in a fourth wave. Let's go over Amazon. So Amazon is correcting a little bit. It only got up to 127. Amazon's a little bit different. I haven't charted this one in a while. But if this is the end of this move right here, I don't know. All of these could end up coming up here and double topping, to be honest. So if this pulls back to 113, we could see something up here around 170 when it's all said and done. So right now, I don't really have a target for this, but it's probably going to correct a little bit more. Maybe another 7%. Let's go over the dollar real quick. So dollar just steady, not that much change. But I suspect the dollar is probably going to make one more move higher. So you can kind of see and then that would be enough to get tech a little bit lower, and SPY maybe will just be kind of flat and then go higher. We'll see, but the dollar looks like pretty much a flat. So that's it for the dollar. The VIX did absolutely nothing today. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's selling off again. Came up here slightly. I'm still looking for it a little bit lower. I was looking for at least the 50% retracement, which is around 24,656. So we'll see if we get that or not. But I would think if the market sold off a little bit more, Bitcoin should too. There's a demand zone here at 23.2. So pretty much a broken record talking about Bitcoin every day. Did I forget anything? I'm trying to think. What tech stocks did I forget? So NVIDIA, I've talked about that before. That's going to be, I think that's an overall fourth wave. I'll go over it real quickly. So I think it actually finished off the overall third wave, and I talked about it's going to be in a fourth wave chopping lower for a while. So I don't expect it to go to new highs anytime soon. Could be wrong, but I think it's probably going to be in a fourth wave. And that fourth wave should take a while. So maybe it just stays up around 376 for a while and then makes a B wave when all the other stocks are making all-time highs. Remains to be seen. But right here, it looks like it could be in a third wave still. But let me just look at this again. So this is probably, this also could be the end of a third wave of this final move, because that would make a lot of sense with all the rest of the tech stocks. So that's the only other possibility in my opinion. So we have 1, 2. If this is a third wave right here and we pull back and then Nvidia goes higher when everything else is going higher, that makes sense. I would move the third wave up here. But if it already topped out, I'm expecting like a 2-year consolidation, way lower. Actually, not way lower, probably like 250 maybe, something like that. I guess that's like a 33% move lower. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I'll go over Boeing and then I'll call it good. Boeing is chopping around. So I sold my dip buy yesterday because I still think this has to come back down here to 195. Just another stock that's showing that it's probably going to just come down a little bit more. That's only like a 7-8% loss. And that would complete wave E. And this is one of the top stocks that I want to buy. I guess you could buy tech too, but I see this one going all the way up to 300 plus. If you get it at 195, you can make 50% potentially over the next 6 months to a year or so. So that's pretty much it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I'm not really that bearish. I think we might see like a 5% dip maybe. And then I'm expecting, as the most likely possibility, higher. So 2023 is likely just to be bullish all the way through. Anyway, that's it. Have a good night.